From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your MTN statewide news this Tuesday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, today, 9 more COVID-19 related deaths to report since this time yesterday, and another 700 active cases across the state. 4 of those deaths are reported from Yellowstone County, where the death toll has now reached 81. The state total now at 273. Active cases have gone down across Montana today to about 8,500, and about 360 people are in the hospital. Well, the Montana Department of Health and Human Services announced yesterday it has submitted a COVID-19 vaccine distribution plan to the CDC for review. Montana's planning efforts are based upon CDC guidance and follows a phased approach due to anticipated limited availability. Phase 1 covers the first 2 months from when the first shipments are received and targets people at the highest risk for life-threatening infection, along with Montana's critical infrastructure workforce. Phase 2 will continue to treat that critical workforce, with distribution expanding to other prioritized groups. Once vaccine availability increases, Phase 3 would help ensure every Montanan who wants a vaccination is able to get one. Now, the plan also covers related topics such as vaccine training, communication, and safety monitoring. Since the timeline for release of the vaccine is uncertain, the plan does not include any specific dates. State officials expect feedback from the CDC as soon as next week. Well, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says some progress has been made in coronavirus relief talks with the White House. She met with Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin for an hour yesterday, just one day before the Speaker's deadline for getting a bill passed in time for the election. If a deal is reached, it would still have to pass the Senate. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has not committed to bringing it to a vote. It's now time to check in on the weather scene. Good afternoon, Ed. We are talking about snow and colds.
In that order, too. Yeah, because we're going to start to watch the snow move in as early as tonight, heading into tomorrow in northern Montana. Really seeing the brunt of it for tomorrow. Winter weather advisories in those blue shaded areas in the northern portion of the state. 2 to 5 inches of snow, maybe 6 to 10 into the mountains, and then we'll watch the snow really start to pile up in southern Montana. We got a winter storm watch into effect, and that's going from Wednesday night into Thursday. So this is the way it's shaping up for us. We'll look for those accumulations to start tomorrow and then really press through southern Montana and start to pile up as we start getting in towards Thursday. And the cold that comes in behind it, record setting. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Ed. Well, minutes ago, Governor Steve Bullock announced Montana's September unemployment numbers have returned to a near normal 5.3%, significantly lower than the national average of 7.9. Now, the state has regained over 48,000 jobs since April's recession low, the 7th best number across the U.S. Bullock also lauded the Department of Labor and Industry's efforts with unemployment payments, which have now topped $1 billion since the pandemic began. Well, one man is dead and another is behind bars following a fatal weekend house fire in Kalispell. Flathead County Sheriff Brian Hino says deputies responded to reports of a house fire in Forest Hill Village around 2 a.m. Saturday. A man who has been identified as 63-year-old Daniel Weldeal was found deceased inside the home. Sheriff Hino says following an investigation, 42-year-old Jason Weldeal of Kalispell was booked into Flathead County detention facing arson charges. A report on the housing crisis in America shows 90% of the country, the increase in home prices over the past 5 years has outpaced income growth. The research by Construction Coverage looked at housing affordability in U.S. in cities with at least 100,000 people. Now, the largest gaps between home price and income growth were in western states such as Nevada, Idaho, Utah, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, and Arizona, where home prices outpaced wage growth by more than 3 times since 2014. Now, for Montana, the survey shows from 2014 to 2019, home prices in the Treasure State have increased 1.7 times faster than wages. In billing specifically, home prices outpaced income barely, just 0.7 times faster. In Missoula, the only other Montana city on the report, home prices have outpaced wages 1.8 times faster. Las Vegas has the greatest disparity between home prices and wages, with home prices increasing nearly 7 times faster than wages there. Well, in only 3 states, North Dakota, Connecticut, and West Virginia, did income growth actually outpace home price growth over the past 5 years. And a quick note, a road between the upper and lower terraces in Yellowstone National Park's Mammoth Hot Springs will be closed tomorrow for a brief time. Park crews are working to replace a culvert from a major water line break that happened in August. Visitors traveling from Norris will be able to access the upper terraces but cannot go any farther north. If work is completed early, the road will reopen before noon this same day. Well, up next on your new news, how a Billings not-for-profit isn't letting the pandemic stop it during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But first, meteorologist Ed McIntosh is in next with your statewide weather forecast. Don't go away.